Can you read me? Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, everyone. It is John. I'm here. I'm live with you. Sunday night live. I tell you what, I've got everything beverage-wise a man could need. I've got a cup of coffee. I've got a bottle of scotch. And I've got an iced tea. I'm all set across the board. I hope you're all set. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Now, Sunday Night Live. But folks, it is incredible watching what they're doing to this country, to the people here, to the planet. I don't have anyone argue with me anymore about whether or not shit has hit the fan. It's just how badly, and what is the sense of urgency, and how bad can it get? Those are now where we're at. Those are the discussion points. Nobody doubts it, because all you and I have to do is look at them and say, right, tell me the US dollar losing world reserve status isn't an SHTF moment. Tell me Putin saying basically, F you. In fact, we'll get into that. Gone from a mild-mannered, very reserved leader in Russia to basically telling the United States of America to fuck off. And that shit has not hit the fan from that. I've never heard him or another Russian leader speak like that. The most, shall we say, aggravated a Soviet or Russian has been with us was Nikita Khrushchev when he banged the lectern with his shoe at the United Nations back in the early 1960s. Tell me this shit hasn't hit the fan. When the U.S. military continues, despite the objections of congressmen, despite the promises of the Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman and the Secretary of Defense to stop putting homosexual drag queen shows on military bases, and they continue to do it anyway. Only the next one, folks, they're going to parade, get this, through the housing, through base housing while everyone's at work. In other words, while kids are home for the summer and daddy's supposed to be protecting the world in the military, we're going to have the government allow a drag queen parade through the housing development. Shit is hit the fan. Major department stores pulling out of the cities, shutting down. Homelessness on the rise while the federal government allows wave after wave after wave of undocumented, unquarantined, unchecked illegal immigrants to pour across the border. While in various states, wherever there's a Democrat regime, they allow thievery of stores. And what happens when they come to your house? When is that next? Well, if they can come into a store and steal what they want and the police won't come and they won't press charges, what about your house? What about your house? What comes next, folks? Don't tell me shit hasn't hit the fan. Don't tell me it's not bad out there. The question is, are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And by food, I don't mean cricket, ground up cricket meal for food. That's not food. Biosludge grown by bacteria or yeast in a factory is not food. Eating the cadavers, eating humans, cannibalism is not food. Oh, all those things will sustain you at least for a little while, but that's not food. But that's what these people want for us. It is unbelievable, folks. Anyways, this is Sunday Night Live. If you've got something to say, hit that super chat button up there, or do Venmo, CashApp, or PayPal, and we'll get you on the show with your questions. We'll get you on here. It's good. Oh, man, if you could, go ahead and shoot Jolene a text and tell her to forward me Darcy T's question. If you could, I appreciate that. We're going to start the show off. Hey, and the other thing is we do super chat donation, but anyone who does $50 or more in a super chat donation buys a shot of Glenlivet 18-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. And I like to start off the show every week. whether it's whether it's Darcy T or whether it's Chin Music. And Chin Music, I'm going to start off with him this week. He did a $55.56 super chat donation. So he did the $50 plus a 556. And we all know what 556 stands for, folks. That's the preferred round of the Marine Corps infantrymen. You bet it is. So on top of coffee, let us pour a scotch. Here's to you, Chin Music. Happy Father's Day, he says. And I've got his question coming right up. Always say a prayer. And thank you, Chin Music. Happy Father's Day to all fathers out there. I tell you, these people, folks, they're out of hand. Okay, so this is what Chin Music wants to talk about. He says, John, happy Father's Day to every dad except Democrat communists. Every time they procreate, a demon gets its wings. Hope you got to speak to your Luke and the rest of your family. Semper Fi. FYA, Potatoes is now less popular than a Father's Day card on the south side of Chicago. And he sent a meme. It shows a little kid, probably a 5, maybe a 6-year-old, screaming, like yelling at some other kid. He says, the new standard of put down in 2023 is, oh yeah, well your dad buys Bud Light at Target. That is freaking funny as hell. Thanks, man. Thanks, Chin Music. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And I tell you what, Chicago has its problems, does it not? Yes, it does. And boy, we got a lot to talk about here. Now, Sunday Night Live, I could sit here with you guys and talk for 2 hours, 3 hours, but this is Sunday Night Live where anyone can join the show, ask a question, we'll put it on the screen. We are live. And I'll make you famous. Anything you think, questions, thoughts, comments, predictions, observations, historical thoughts. It matters. Other people are listening. Other people are watching. When this video is done and it goes out to YouTube and stays out on YouTube, thousands of people watch it. Thousands of people watch it and they learn and they listen and they think. And that's really where we're at, folks. We have people out there now who want to wake up. They truly do. They want to wake up. Yeah, Chicago. Wow. I tell you, what happened on the Juneteenth celebration while we're making a Chicago joke? You got to love the thuggery inside Democrat strongholds. It's almost like the idiots know to vote for Democrats so that they can get away with literal murder. 20 people were shot. Not in all of Chicagoland, folks. Not in all of Illinois. 20 people were shot at a shopping mall. Well, there was a Juneteenth celebration. Turned a little violent, didn't it? 20 people shot. Unbelievable. Folks, the places where crime comes from in this country is a very small, minute percentage of idiots that commit the crimes. All they have to do is get rid of them and the crime rate will drop. Folks, did you know that California has the highest crime rate in the country, I think, per capita? I read something about it the other day. California is that bad. California, of course, you know, they hate guns. They don't believe in guns. They don't like guns. Gavin Newsom, if he could, would get rid of them all instantly. But getting rid of guns doesn't stop criminals, folks. Over in England, they got rid of guns. So what's going on? Stabbings. Murders by stabbings have, once they did that, gone through the roof and continue to go higher because England, like America, like the rest of Europe, is being overrun with migrants. And folks, it is becoming more obvious by the day that allowing migrants to flood into Europe is not going to help Europe. It's not going to make Europe more productive. It's not going to make Europe more safe. It's not going to help Europe in any. I mean, how is bringing ignorant, non-speaking immigrants into a country going to do anything? You know what they're doing? They're forming communities. They're forming cities. They're forming counties that don't speak the language. They don't observe any law. They're basically cartel gangs, whether they're, I don't know, Tunisian, whether they're Libyan, whether they're Egyptian, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what country they come from. They group together, tribal stuff, and then they kick everyone out. They ruin property values until people just leave and abandon. And then they run that like their own little third world shithole. Well, tell you what, the people there are going to get what they voted for. You vote for lawlessness in your political leaders, and you get lawlessness at home. You vote for law and order, you vote for civility, and you get civility at home. Now, I talked about thievery down there and or out there in any Democrat city, right, where they allow people to come into a store, steal all they want, and just walk right out the door. No arrest, no police report, no police action, no police protection. In fact, you could get arrested for trying to stop these freaks from stealing from you. Now, down in Florida, it's a little different. Over in Texas, it's a little different. Now, I do know in Florida of at least 4 sheriffs who will allow you to blow someone right back out your home door if they come through the home and threaten you, if they break into your house, if they barge through the door, if it's a home invasion, right? Little different attitude, isn't it? Now, I don't know about flash mobs breaking into stores in Florida. I don't know about that, but I haven't heard about it. I do know that everyone in Florida, and I think Texas as well, is allowed to carry. Whether it's open carry or concealed carry, everyone's allowed to carry. Except, I'm sure, in some Democrat strongholds in Texas. Texas is in trouble, folks. I know that Florida has more Republicans now than they did before Joe Biden. I know that. I'm not sure about Texas. I think Texas, some of the cities are going darker blue, but a lot of the red is getting bigger as well. We've got one hell of a fight on our hands, folks. A lot of talk about secession, a lot of talk about independence. In fact, Texas is now once again got it out there. It's public that they're looking at seceding from the Union, right? And just like everything else, just like dealing with Washington, D.C. and Kevin McCarthy and the Republican parties there, enough talk, enough bullshit. For the love of God, do something. Just do it. I tell you what, that's what we need. That's what we need. All right, it's Sunday Night Live. We got a lot to talk about, but I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what's on your mind. Let's see what you're thinking. Oh, man, let's do some super chats, man. Let's do it. And we got Yankee Watchdog stepping up with a $50 super chat donation. And he says, Happy Father's Day, brother. And I'll tell you what, Yankee, you've been a long-time watcher, listener, commenter, always bringing your particular sense of humor and perspective to the game. And that's really what we need, folks, is a lot of different perspectives. We don't have to agree with one another. And I tell you, Glenn Levitt 18 is like mother's milk. I tell you what, Yankee, Semper Fi, brother, Semper Fi to all. Happy Father's Day, Godspeed, God bless America. Oh, and fuck communists and socialists. Mother's milk. Speaking of that, I talked to my mom today. I always love harassing my mom. What a nice lady. Talked to my father today, sent him some nice messages and some jokes and good stuff. These holidays are great because it reminds me of how good this country is. Oh, Yankee, do you got a comment, question, something else, or just that? Anyways, I love the holidays because it reminds me what America should be. And then the next day we go back to work, we go back out in public, and we get kicked in the teeth by these idiots out here. Anyways, I want to give you just an example of what I see. Right? There's a court case. Everything has to go to court now. Don't we know what's right and wrong on the street? Well, we used to as Americans, but not anymore. Now everything is being challenged by left-wing idiots, right? I thought we were supposed to have free speech. I really thought that. Well, a federal judge named Indira Talwani. You never know what kind of intelligence you're going to get from someone who's the child of an immigrant. I believe Indira is a Indian name. And the judge ruled that the First Amendment does not protect a 12-year-old right of expression on a T-shirt while attending public school in Massachusetts. That's right, folks. This kid wore a shirt that said there are only two genders. And that may communicate that only two gender identities, male and female, are valid, or any others are invalid or non-existent. So what? Just because it's on a T-shirt doesn't mean you have to agree with it. But what did this T-shirt invite? Discussion, thinking. Who wants to silence it? The left. Now, here's my fucking opinion. Judge Talwani, you fucking idiot. And pardon my French when I said bonjour. Hey, how about the LGBTQ rainbow flag? Isn't that a statement without words? Putting that in public says it's okay to be a fruitcake and practice whatever fruitcake sex you have. It's okay to mutilate your genitals. It's okay to destroy your natural endocrine processes and system. That's what's fine. That's what that says. And how about all the Chinese and Soviet Union communist flags that are flying in schools, both in the classes and even out? What do those say? It's okay to steal everyone else's property and be non-productive. Right? Communism. Right? To each according to their need and from each according to their ability, except the ability to lay around is what they practice. Unbelievable. It's this judge on the June 16th ruling is just absolutely despicable. Maybe in India. Now, if the shirt said something like you have to beat people up, okay, that's promoting violence. We can't have that. Even though left-wing idiots are out there committing acts of violence and threatening kids. In fact, in schools, we now have people of fruitcake persuasion threatening other kids. I'll tell you what, back in, let's see, that would be 2018, 2017, 5-6 years ago, my younger son, Lucas, was threatened by these fruitcakes. Threatened with sodomy, folks. Threatened with sodomy, no less by female fruitcakes who were allowed to get away with it. You think I don't have a reason to be fucking pissed at these idiots out there, folks? Don't worry. He made sure they paid, and he always does. Lucas is one hell of a young man, folks. And I hope that your sons, your fathers, your brothers, your cousins, right, your sisters, your daughters, all have integrity in their hearts and intelligence in their mind to fight these fools off. They don't stand a chance, folks. They're being used by the political leftists. They're being used. Now, here's the good thing. All the homosexuals out there, hard to reproduce when you're porking someone's bung, right? If you are going to ruin your body, your reproductive system by mutilating your genitals, you're not going to reproduce. They're killing themselves off, folks. Now, here's the trick. They think that they're going to be able to reproduce other ways, and they're working on it, folks. Right? They want to just take someone's DNA and grow people in a lab. They're pushing this science fiction. They're pushing it all as far as they can, folks. Oh, by the way, this judge was an Obama appointee. If you ever end up in a court with Judge Indira Talwani, I would start praying, because you're not going to get a fair trial. No, you will not. All right, let's do this. Let's do another super chat donation and question and comment and thought. And it's Luke Thompson with a $5 super chat. And he says, my son, those first two shots are already hitting home. Woo! My son told me today that he is going to re-enlist. He's going to join the Air Force. I tell you, man, that is a hell of a move. We need real men and real women in the military. We need them there. We need them in the Marine Corps. We need them in the Army. We need them in the Navy and the Air Force. We need them in the Coast Guard. We need them in the Space Force. It was probably 6-7 months ago, folks. I was on a boat, got boarded by the Coast Guard when I was over there in the Gulf. And it was kind of interesting. I thought, you guys, the Coast Guard, right? Boarding boats with a bunch of old white men on them. I guess, why don't you go catch those boats loaded with illegal immigrants, coming up here? Anyways, yeah, they were very polite. They were very knowledgeable. They were extremely professional. They were courteous. They were here to protect our country. They were doing safety checks. That's all they really pulled us over for. Pull us over in the water, right? And once we all found out we're veterans, it was a good little talk. But anyways, back to Luke. His son is going to re-enlist and join the Air Force. Good, right? I, as you guys know, was just a week and a couple of days ago. I was at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, and spent some time around my beloved Jarheads. And it felt good seeing the fact that there were no flags with rainbows. There were no shirts, no signs, no paraphernalia, none of that. It was all men all the time, all testosterone. Even the women Marines were tough as fuck. Far tougher, in my opinion, than when I was in. And, well, that's saying something. It really is. They had their shit together, but it was also Marine Corps Recruit Depot, and so everyone's a little harder on the depot. All right. Anyways, Luke, tell your son good luck. I hope he gets in there. I hope he fights back against all of this ridiculous social engineering in our military. Semper Fi to him. All right, Uman, what do we have next, man? It is, this is it. This comes from Yankee Watchdog. Thanks again for the great donation, man. He said, that's all I wanted to say. Most everything else is outside my 10-mile radius. I pretty much gave up caring. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, what's he talking about, a 10-mile radius? Folks, you got you right here. Around you, 10 miles away, draw a circle on a map. Get a map, put you in the middle, and draw a radius at 10 miles all the way around. When shit goes down, when it goes Mad Max, when you get hot spots of SHTF violence, that's your world at that point. At that point, nothing else matters. I mean, you'll know there's people out there. You'll know there's a government somewhere. But what matters is what's going on in that area. And what is 10 miles? 10 miles is how far a normal person can travel in one day on foot. Roads could be blockaded. You could have gangs, roving gangs. You could have neighborhoods that deploy security watch, right? You got the good, you got the bad, and you got the ugly in SHTF. And that 10-mile radius inside that, that's your world. Now, if you live in the country, there's far less people out there, isn't there? You live in downtown in a city, you got a lot more people. You live in the suburbs, well, you got a lot of mix. You're going to have some soft people. You're going to have some hardcore people. It's all SHTF, though. Out in the country, you can see a long ways. People can look at you and you can look at them from a long ways away through some specs, some optics. In the city, everyone's on top of each other. So you got it. I tell you, it's that 10-mile radius. Thank you, Watchdog. You're the man. Semper Fi. Okay, oh man, I really appreciate that. Let us move on. Oh, we're at 300 people, 13 and rising. So hit that thumbs up button right now And also send that internet address at the top of the screen. Send that out to everyone you know. Email, text, carrier pigeon, I don't give a shit. Get it out there because we're live right now. We're going to be covering a lot of important topics. I've had a few shots already. Make that 3 of the Scotch whiskey on this Father's Day, and we need to get into it. We got a lot of stuff to go over. So, Mr. Ooman, who do we got next? Oh, shit. I think I'm in some trouble today. We may put the end on this bottle. We may put the end on this bottle. It is Do Stuff with Nikki, and there is another. I'm in big trouble, I tell you. Another Glenn Levitt. Happy Father's Day to you, Nikki. You mother. Okay. Thank you, Nikki. Semper Fi. You keep being cool. Oh, man. And that liquid, woo, mother's milk. That liquid refreshment goes a long, long ways. Nikki says, spent the weekend with Ooman's son. I have to say, refreshing at best to be with a child that gets it. And it reinforces what I say. It comes from the parents. We went shooting. He schooled people at the range. Then motorcycle riding. The world needs more children like this. Ooman should be proud. He is what America should be all about. P.S. Drink up. Laughing out loud. Well, I drank it up. And I'll tell you what. Your kids, I tell you, folks, when your kids respect you, they look up to you. No one's perfect, right? No one is perfect, but if you set a good example, your kids should follow. And it shows. It truly does show. Now, there's also those other kids, folks, that I don't think are a reflection on someone's parenting skill. And that's kids that reject their parents on Father's Day and every day and Mother's Day because they've decided to succumb to the indoctrination and propaganda of the left. Remember, folks, in Russia, before World War I, before the communists took over, that was a country that was steeped in tradition and culture. Russian, no less. Screwed up, you bet. But they rejected their country, their tradition, their culture, and they held a nasty revolution. The Bolsheviks, rejected their parents and their country, and they became a bunch of murderous thugs. They murdered everybody, folks. That's what happens when indoctrination and propaganda happens, right? The children turn away from their parents and they turn to evil. So thank God, yeah, for guys like Ooman that have great children, great sons. And I've met his son when we had a couple of drinks, and one hell of a good man. I'm hoping to see him again real soon. And the other thing you see from people like that, folks, is a work ethic, right? Young men and women that go to work and bust their ass and apply themselves is because their parents did the same and set a good example. It makes us proud to see that. It makes us proud to see that. Thank you very much, Nikki. Got to slow down on my drinking. I tell you. Okay, look, this is important. Shit hitting the fan. World War III. It's very possible. I want to get to this right here at the 30-minute mark on the Prepared Minds Sunday Night Live on the Zoo. This is a big one, folks. Well, what is the Zoo? The Zoo is, let's see, the Prepared Mind at YouTube. It is the preparedmind.club, and that's our flagship website, the preparedmind.club. You can go buy preps there, and you can sign up for the premium channel that supports this show. Your Super Chat donations support the show. It keeps the pantry full of tuna and Spam and the occasional bottle of scotch. It keeps us on the air, pays for our servers, pays for all the research, and whoa, that stuff is kicking my ass. It's good to be a father. Anyways, I don't even know where I was at. Oh yeah, at the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. You can sign up there, either place, for $2 a month, 7 cents a day. But tonight is the Zoo. It is Sunday Night Live, and we're all here together. That's why it's a zoo. All you crazy animals out there, if you want to comment, you have to be a subscriber. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to ask a question, you got to hit that super chat button up there. And many of you do. Thank you so much. It really, from the heart. Thank you much for supporting everything we do and everything we've done for the last 10 freaking years. We've been here saying, get ready, get ready. And then it came. And now we're saying, you better stay ready. And you better be prepared and stay informed about what's going on. Well, I'm now going to inform you if you don't already know. And I know a lot of you guys know it. In fact, I want to thank Orlando and Mr. Skylight and Fuzzy and everyone else who sent me information over the weekend. We communicate. We learn from one another. We stay prepared. If you don't know what's going on out there, you're going to be confused when it comes inside your 10-mile radius. Okay, thanks, you man. Appreciate that. Anyways, let's do this, folks. I mean, what's going on out there? How about way over there? Putin, folks. Now, this is the mainstream media's headline. Putin tells the United States and NATO to shove it. The more literal translation, folks, is fuck you. It just is. The media can't print that, though. So they said shove it. But the more to the point and direct and negative connotation of what Putin said. Now, Putin, folks, normally presents a very calm, reserved demeanor, and his language is generally calm, intellectual, direct, and not nuanced. He changed his tone quite a bit this weekend. He didn't mince his words, and he let everyone know that his level of frustration has grown with the United States and its bullying and its abuses, and NATO and its abuses, and the European Union and its abuses, saying Russia is now at war with the United States, and it will conduct itself accordingly. Now, Vladimir Putin, his Kremlin spokesman, Peskov, he came in and he had his very to the point, very succinct statement and said the war between the Russian Federation and the West has actually begun. Now, once again, they use the term the West and the United States interchangeably. West of Russia is all of Europe. And Europe is NATO, mostly, the powerful countries over closer on the western end, and the United States. They're at war with us now, folks. Now, here's the thing. Is Russia going to bomb us here in the United States of America? It's possible. Could they invade Alaska? It's possible. Could they invade Europe? It's possible. Could they coordinate with China and have a multifaceted blitzkrieg attack around the world and shock the world with, say, an invasion of Taiwan, an invasion of China? I'm sorry, China invading India. It's possible. There's a lot of things that are possible. Could North Korea pour across the border into South Korea? It's possible. Could sleeper cells in the United States be activated? It is possible. Now, what is probable? I don't think it's very probable, but it's possible. Is it inevitable? What is inevitable isn't an invasion. What is inevitable is the conflict is going to become more difficult, whether it's military or financial, whether it's social. Oh yeah, there's a social war being fought right now. And Russia isn't even having to contribute to it, is it? No, folks, the World Economic Forum and the governments of the West, Western Europe, Central Europe, and, well, the Anglo-American countries, they're at war with themselves. The World Economic Forum has seen to that. Russia has got to be looking at us saying a house divided can't stand. Anyways, they say the war's already begun. So Russia can attack, folks, or they can attack and hurt the United States and NATO and Europe without firing a single missile or a single bullet. In fact, Russia has already taken all the steps needed. They've set the table, folks. And Putin's tone of rhetoric indicates to me that they're going to start very, very soon. How, you may ask? I've got this. How about these two words right here? Monetary war. Announcing a gold standard for trade settlement will prompt other nations to do the same, backing their currency, their nation's word with gold, with commodities, which could be agricultural commodities or mining commodities, produced goods, not like the United States that has their money backed with more paper and more ink. Right? They'll print all the money they want. I mean, how do you create $100 of wealth with 10 cents of paper and half a penny worth of ink? That's what a $100 bill is worth. The paper it's printed on. But people think it's worth a lot more. I mean, give me all the $100 bills you want, and I'd be a happy guy, because I know that right now it's accepted. But around the world, they're getting rid of it. Thank you much, man. Right now, they're getting rid of it. They're selling it off. They're selling off the bonds. They're de-dollarizing is the term. A monetary war, to me, would seem to be the least deadly to Russia, who's already sitting back and watching the rest of the world squirm over their stupidity of the leadership in Europe and Joe Biden. They're watching the West dissolve, right? The U.S. Federal Reserve dollar, folks, is being dumped as nations realize they don't need it. And this BRICS nation, this union of other countries, is growing in number of countries and cooperative understanding for mutually beneficial trade. Now, growing up in school, I thought mutually beneficial trade was, hey, we give you dollars, you give us stuff. Everyone wins, right? And then we sell our stuff out there and we get dollars back from them, right? Everyone wins. Well, it's not that way anymore. A lot of countries don't feel like they're winning with America. They just don't. Whatever they buy, right, is subject to inflation. The value of what they get from America, the paper, goes down, while the cost of goods remains static or the same. So hang tight, folks. Russia is saying they're at war with us. We'll see how close I am to the coming reality. If sometime in the next couple of months, we don't hear about a gold standard, a commodity standard, a BRICS currency, a world currency that America is not part of. And don't forget about cyber warfare also, as a tool of attack, misdirection, propaganda, misinformation. And it could be coming from any government, whether it's Russian or the CIA America, right? The false flag blame game. You bet, folks. There's a lot more to this, and we're going to cover it all if I get a chance. Wow, folks, just wow. Now, I mean, where to go? There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. Uman's telling me you guys are back, and I'm going to go here. We got Darcy T checking in with a super chat donation. And she's done a $50 super chat donation, which means oh, she says no drink needed. She's cutting me some slack. Anyways, I want to thank you, Darcy T. She's here every week. And she said, here's a copy. Just wishing you and all the real men around the world happy Father's Day. Thank you so much, Darcy T. And yes, Darcy, Jolene is dealing with some family holiday fun. I'll just put it that way. And I want to thank you for all you do for us. Literally, folks, everyone who supports this channel, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you again, literally. And Darcy, we'll do one later when I've got more wits about me. Anyways, thank you so much. It's much, much appreciated. We've got a lot more coming, folks. In fact, speaking of Russia, they're laughing at us big time. Not at me and you, folks. They're laughing. They're laughing at the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They're laughing at the Pentagon. They're laughing at NATO. Laughing at everybody. Let's do this. Let's do some more of your questions now. We got Brad Jones with a $5 super chat donation, and he says, "How's the dictatorship of Biden doing? Building or not?" The dictatorship. Well, he's certainly a dick, right? And potato, tater, that's Joe. So Dick Joe, Potato Joe. Guess what? The guy who said wannabe dictator, the guy at Fox News, was a Tucker Carlson news producer who was still working at Fox the day that Trump was arrested. He's the one that put that banner up at the bottom of Fox News. It said, "Wannabe dictator Joe Biden does speech while arresting or having his political opponents arrested." He was fired. He was fired. And that dude has big, giant balls of steel, balls of brass. And guess what? No news channel is ever going to hire him again. Unless it's like Newsmax or Gateway Pundit or some other media company that's right-wing, because he did something that no one in the news would do, and that's call it like they see it. They could have run the story 100 different ways. They didn't have to say that Joe was a wannabe dictator. They could have said, sitting president under suspicion for using Department of Justice to punish political enemies. Yeah, they could have wrote that. Any news company could have, right? We need to ask questions. They could take a poll of the American people. They could interview politicians on both sides of the aisle and get opinions and put it out there, put it to you. But that's not how the media works. They now hide. Trump has been indicted on 37 counts of being blah, 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 right? He's a criminal. And then they'll bring on a bunch of lunatics from the left talking about how he needs to be hung or shot. It's incredible. In fact, let's just cover that. There's no Freudian slip when these people speak, folks. This idiot, a Democrat, a ranking member of the House Weaponization Subcommittee, this idiot spoke her words on the media, in the news, and said, quote, "Trump needs to be stopped." Freudian slip? No, folks. They mean it. They mean violence. They want to encourage violence. And this person is on the Weaponization Subcommittee. So what is the House Weaponization Subcommittee? Well, it's the subcommittee that interviewed the Department of Justice officials, the Attorney General, right, office, the FBI, interviewed them, right, hearings, that is, to find out what the hell is going on with the FBI, the Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office. Why is it that so many people are being prosecuted for being Republicans, yet Democrats, Democrat supporters, Democrat politicians, Democrat, shall we say, agents provocateur, they're all being allowed to get away with just about everything and anything. It is unfucking believable. It's unbelievable. Remember Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX investment? The kid who had how many tens or hundreds of billions of dollars? He's in his 20s and he's got that much money, that much control. He was laundering it. He was taking your investment money off of Wall Street and sending it over to Ukraine, laundering it, bringing it back to the United States, and he is the country's second largest donor. Sam Bankman-Fried, charged with all types of fraud. Well, guess what? The federal government has dropped 5 of the charges against him because of his multi-billion-dollar scam. Also, folks, right, that he bribed the Chinese. I mean, stunning. This guy gets charges dropped. He should have so much time in prison, folks, that he could dig a hole to China. Anyways, trespassers on public property in Washington, D.C., they get 10 years. Well, this fucking clown steals tens of billions of dollars, screws everyone over, and contributes to the Democrat Party, who doesn't want to return all of the contributees. They don't want to return the stolen money. This guy gets charges dropped. That is weaponization, folks. They enable the criminals and they punish the patriots. Don't tell me they're not fucking weaponized. Brad, how's that dictatorship doing? They're doing just fine, aren't they? Woo! Good golly. All right. Let's do some of your questions out there. Ooh, man. Oh, shit. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. This bottle's in trouble. I may have to go down and get another one. Woo! Okay. It's Chin Music. He stepped back in the room. Man, he did a 56 super chat donation to kick the show off, and he's back with a $49.99. And here it is to you, brother. Here's to the red, white, and blue, and all that we know is true. Semper Fi means always faithful. Happy Father's Day. He says, not sure if you saw Biden and Fetterneck on stage together. I couldn't help but hearken back to the talent show portion of Young Frankenstein when Peter Boyle sang, "Putting on the Ritz." Try to unsee that. Happy Father's Day and you're welcome. Okay, folks, Peter Boyle, he is the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond. But back in the 70s, he starred in Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder, Terry Garr, and Marty Feldman. He also came back co-starring with Marty Feldman in Yellowbeard, which was a Monty Python and, believe it or not, Cheech and Chong collaboration movie. Fucking hilarious. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of, I got that stuff up there, Chin Music. Anyways, Peter Boyle was Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein. And it's just fucking hilarious, but how true is what he's saying right now? I did see, he calls him Fetterneck. I call him, Fester. His name is John Fetterman. He's a U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania, but he looks like Uncle Fester or Frankenstein. It's unbelievable what these clowns are doing. I got to tell you this, folks. I saw this. I've got some comments that I just want to bring up. So Joe Biden holds a press conference, and he is a blathering, bumbling, stumbling, incoherent, just moron. He is a doddering fool at this point. Folks, there's a lot of doddering fools. When you get old, you're doddering. You get let off and you get put in a rocking chair and you're just told to sit and relax. You made it, right? You went from a babbling baby to growing up. You've matured. You lived your whole life, and now you're reverting back to being just babbling like an incoherent child. That was Biden, right? Now, who did he have with him? That's right. He had Uncle Festerman. Now, Joe Biden, he got lost, right? But Uncle Festerman was there. Fetterman, Fetterneck, if you wish. He's standing there with the President of the United States. What do you think Frankenfuck is wearing? He's dressed as usual in sweatshirt and shorts. As a U.S. Senator standing in the presence of the President of the United States. Folks, these people, Biden, the Democrat Party, the mainstream media, Fetterman, all of them, none of them have any respect for the office. Fetterman, the liar in chief, all of them have no respect for the office or the authority granted to them to administrate, to run the United States government. A U.S. Senator dressed like a slob who just came from the gym and working out. In fact, people who work at the gym, I don't want to insult you by saying he dresses like you. But he's dressed like he's going to go to the gym. This is the same guy, let me remind you, who people said, well, he's got brain damage from all the strokes he suffered. I don't know if that was Jim Jones juice or he's naturally that stupid. He's got brain damage. And they're like, well, we need someone in the Senate to represent people with mental issues. Well, that's the whole Democrat Party. But especially this guy. No, we don't need that. We need intelligent, thoughtful, wise people who understand liberty, freedom, the Constitution, and how a government ought to run. Instead, we get this, folks. Unbelievable. Good God. I go to a job interview, folks. I'm wearing dress shoes, slacks, depending on the job, right? If it's an executive job, I'd be wearing a shirt, tie, and coat, business suit. If I was going for a management job, I might wear a dress shirt or a very nice polo shirt, right? If I'm going to work at a hardware store, I'll still wear a nice pair of shoes and jeans and a button-up shirt, polo shirt, work shirt, something, right? You dress nice for the job. This fucking guy is dressing 1% better than a street bum who's been out there panhandling on the corner of First and MLK Boulevard. I mean, this guy is a slob. Anyways, I'm griping to the choir. Hey, everyone, hit that thumbs up button. Hit it now. Make sure you hit that button and hit it again just to be sure. And then we've got a bell down there somewhere. That's a notification bell so that anytime we put out a post, a video, etc., you get a notification so that you can come check out what the hell is happening. Now, if something happens, something crazy, something big, and I get a phone call, I get a text message, I can do a video live, like, holy shit, this just happened. I'm waiting for that moment, folks, the same way you and I waited, and we waited, and then it finally happened. And we finally said, that's it, shit has hit the fan. Now I'm waiting for the SHTF Mad Max moment, when some city gets lit up by the North Koreans, the Chinese, the Russians, a terror cell, or a giant false flag. I'm waiting for that, and I'll go live and start covering it. But you won't see that unless you hit that notification bell so we can talk about it live. Good golly, folks, good golly, it's coming. At this stage now, Russia's taken off the gloves, and who knows what's going to happen. Are you prepared? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Do you have that? I sure hope you do, folks. I sure hope you do. The government, they don't even know what side of the bed to get up on. They don't know how to dress for a job. You think they know how to protect this country? I don't fucking think so. All right, man, let's move on. We're closing in on hour number 1. We're almost to the end of that. And then we got hour number 2. So share that internet address up there with everybody. And now we're going to get to Rick G with a $10 super chat donation. Great donation. He says, John, thank you for doing what you do. The world needs more of the words you speak. When will Biden be prosecuted for taking bribes and throwing our country to the wolves? You know what, Rick? It's still getting closer. Now, I'm the type of guy that says, what the fuck are we waiting for? You get the impeachment together now, you vote on it, right? You get the evidence in front of Congress, you get the evidence out to the public. We've heard from Representative Comer, Senator Grassley, right? We've heard from many congressmen. We've even had at least two congressmen put in articles of impeachment. We're told the other day by, I can't remember his freaking name, another congressman saying, hey, we're going to have all the information. We have the information. The big guy takes bribes. The big guy has secret documents in every single freaking house and office he's got, stored with his Corvette. Hello? Right? The big guy is noted in his own son's laptop as taking bribes. We've got Ukraine officials who are turning states' evidence against Biden. They've got audio communications, supposedly. Why is this not in the hands of the American people? It should be blasted out of Congress and shared on every social media site. They've got this old frickin' fool dead to rights. He's done. He's cooked. Yet here we are. Where is it? I'm tired of the talk about, well, you know, we got to be very careful. We got to have the information. Bullshit. We've had the information. In fact, it came out that back in 2018, 2019, they had information on all the bribery going on over in Ukraine with the Biden cartel. The longer this fucking clown stays in office, the more destruction is going to occur. Hey, tell you what, impeach his ass and try and get him out. If the Senate leaves him in, at least we've impeached him and woke the American people up to all the crimes being committed. Now, allow me to continue. If they throw his dumb ass out, if he resigns in disgrace, if he fucking slips on a banana peel and falls down the staircase, chokes on a fucking hot dog, and expires, fine. Now we got Camel Toes Harris in there, right? Old dirty knees herself. Okay, you can tell her, right? We got you. We got the goods on you too, right? Let's see, you're in charge of the border and you've been down there never, or is it one time now to see what the fuck is going on at the border? They know what's going on at the border. They're following United Nations migration guidelines. No, that's not law. That's some international shit that has nothing to do with our country and our Constitution. Anything that is repugnant to the Constitution, violates, is against, is the opposite of, cannot stand. You can only have one law of the land. You can't have two and then choose one. We got some trouble. Rick G, thank you very much. I appreciate the great question. This son of a bitch needs to be thrown out of office. And as far as I'm concerned, he needs a military tribunal for the treason he has caused. Afghanistan, period. I think enough has been said there. I'm kind of on fire now, folks. I got the fire water roiling through my veins. All right, Mr. Uman, where are we going next, man? We got Count Chad the Impaler. God bless you, man. I love that name. $10 super chat donation. He says, Ottoman Empire, that would be the Turkish Islamic Empire, occupied the same land as the Byzantine Empire, which was Greek Christian, it replaced. The tree of Western civilization is fallen, he says, replaced by globalist leftist civilization, a toadstool growing on a stump. Okay. I think I'm going to cover this the way I covered it probably 2 or 3 years ago, Chad. The Turks, the Muslims, have been trying to invade Europe and spread Mohammedanism for the last 1,000 years. They tried it back in the 1200s. They got stomped. They made it into Portugal and Spain. They made it to France, and he was stumped. The Moors got stomped by Charlemagne. A couple hundred years later, they tried coming up through Turkey and then moving into Central and Eastern Europe through Hungary and then Austria, and they got stomped there as well. Okay, we've got a problem with these people. Yeah, they want to destroy us. So why now? Why is Europe inviting them all in? Why would Europe do that? Well, here is my answer for you. Because they want Europe destroyed. They want a culture of harsh, extremely, shall we say, intolerant. That's a nice word. Extremely intolerant, physically violent, brutal, tribal, nomadic uncivility, which is what these people are. They are uncivilized. They are tribal. They are nomadic. They are intolerant, and they're violent. They want Europe to have that. Now, why would these super rich fucks in the World Economic Forum want that? Well, because there's two sets of rules, folks, in those countries where these freaks come from. These shithole countries have extremely wealthy people, folks. Extremely wealthy. But they don't have to play by the rules that these street urchins do. The street urchins keep each other in line, and they enforce Muslim rules on each other. But like the Arabs of the Middle East, right? Like the warlords in Northern Africa, the rich have an entirely different set of rules they live by. So why would they want these just extremely radical, violent, ignorant fucks in their country to destroy Western civilization so they, the rich people, cannot be held accountable? They want to bring our civilization down to ignorance and servitude, destroy everyone they don't need, and leave a bunch of low forehead fools to carry out the most mundane of tasks and jobs. And don't worry, they'll keep some smart people and educate them. But the rich want to get rid of everyone who's a threat, and they want a system in place that allows them to continue to be elites while the rest of us are subjugated to the most intolerant, abusive system of government, the theocracy that falls under Islam. Now, if we shall. Does it look like that's what's happening? Have you seen the beheadings in Europe? Yeah, it's going on right now. It's in process. It's not an event, it's a process, folks. And they're doing it. There's going to be a war. There has to be a war. And who is responsible? Every single government leader and bureaucrat and all of these rich fucks. Never, ever forget they've allowed this, they've caused this, they want this. Now, I saw this, folks, 30 fucking years ago when I first read Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. The book starts off with characters speaking with, well, the big man, the head of the bureaucracy, right? And they kept saying, well, we're hearing this from the horse's mouth. The leadership in this futuristic utopian society that's actually just a fucking disaster in a way, but it's very well run. And this leader of the world, the so-called civilized world, this leader of that high-tech civilized world, in this book that was written, folks, 100 years ago, had a Muslim name. In fact, I think it was Mustafa. I thought, why would a guy 100 years ago write a book and make the big boss, the president, if you will, be named Mustafa? It's like, no, it doesn't make sense. But now I see it making sense. Using that culture and those idiots to take control of everything. And here we are. We have those idiots in charge in many places now. And they are a bunch of brutal tribal idiots, folks. Not because they're not capable of intelligent thought. It's just they've been indoctrinated into a world of intolerant stupidity. Now, here's my warning to all the LGBTQIA plus people. Do you think that these intolerant, violent, tribal, thuggish, brutal people who don't have a court system, even though it's called Sharia law, basically you get caught, you're on the street, they take care of business right there. It's not considered vigilantism, it's considered Allah's justice. And it needs to be swift, it needs to be brutal, it needs to be painful, and it needs to show the people on the street exactly what you get when you violate their law. You think they're going to allow trannies? Think they're going to allow drag queens? Think they're going to allow a bunch of butt pirates to run around with their skinny jeans and their little loafers they want to kick off? Do you think they're going to allow all of that? Think again. All you fruitcakes, left-wing fruitcakes, you're in trouble. You will be not just expelled from the country. You'll be expelled from life by these intolerant people, because they're the next step. While they import all of these people into Europe and the United States, these intolerant people, they're using you, left-wing, LGBTQ type people. They're using you to cause this country great damage and harm. But ultimately, you will be gotten rid of. It's coming, folks. I see the future. I'm not a prophet in a religious sense. You just have to know history. You just have to know their agenda. You just have to see what it needs to happen. And here we are. Thank you, Count Chad the Impaler. By the way, Vlad the Impaler, who became the inspiration for Dracula. in Transylvania. He was Vlad the Impaler because he also stopped the Muslim hordes from coming through and breaking into greater Europe. Very interesting. Yeah, that's right, folks. Europe was saved in part by Vlad the Impaler. Let us move on if we shall. Ooh, man, where do we want to go next? What's the topic? Who are we going to talk to? And it's Chin Music back with another $9.99 Super Chat donation. Thank you, brother. Pow. You hit that button up there. And yeah, by the way, that's smashed finger. I don't recommend slamming your finger in a car door or hitting it with a hammer. Oh, shit. Okay, oh, man. Chin Music, he says this: you can go to jail for viewing material on Hunter's laptop, but Hunter isn't in jail. It's a two-tiered justice system. So what does he mean you can go to jail for viewing it? Well, if you were to take the information, like, let's see, Hunter emails you pictures of child pornography from his laptop to yours. It's now on your laptop, and the government considers you a criminal. You can go to jail for getting sent an email by Hunter, and it's on your computer. I still don't know why then Google or Yahoo or any of these companies, that they don't go to jail for being in possession of and transporting child pornography. It went through their servers. They were the conduit. It'd be like someone going, well, you know, that criminal walked across your property. You let them, and you knew they were committing a crime when you saw them walking across your property. But somehow you're not in trouble for providing the only pathway to spread the criminal behavior. Oh, no, John, they don't know it. Yeah, they know, folks. They fucking know everything. They can make up anything. Yeah, Chin Music, you're absolutely right. It is a two-tiered justice system. It is. It's absolutely a two-tiered justice system. And on top of that, folks, let me tell you about these fucking idiots. The idiots on the left, they'll believe anything. You see, all of us here, we see how fucked up in the head these people are. They don't get it. They think that it's a one-tier justice system. Yeah, if you're a Democrat, you're fine. If you're a Republican, you're going to jail. In fact, I mean, these people, they can't. Here's an example. In Dallas, Texas, there's a realtor, and he's claimed that he's creating a rainbow underground railroad to help all of the fruit salad folks escape from Texas. That's right, folks. He's actually insulting the fuck out of people who had an underground railroad that helped slaves who were held captive, who escaped. The Underground Railroad wasn't a railroad in the sense that they had, you know, trains and stuff. It was just a system for moving people who could escape and who were slaves, move them to the north for freedom. Right? But this fucking idiot thinks that he has a rainbow underground railroad. And here's the deal. No one is being stopped from leaving Texas or Florida or any other state. No one is holding you back. You don't have to escape. You can get in a car. You can get on a train. You can get on a plane. You can get on a bus. You can get out on the road and hitchhike and get the fuck out. In fact, I think most states in the South would pay for your bus ticket. They may even pay for a moving van to get your Democrat entitlement, welfare-taking bullshit ass out of the state. Go to Chicago. Go to fucking Detroit. Go to Washington. Get the fuck out of Texas. We don't want you there. Right? But this is how stupid they are, folks. This realtor's helping people escape. As if they're being hunted in Texas. As if they're being shackled and held in chains. That's how stupid they are, folks. That's the world you and I live in. That's how, it's just how fucked up they are. I mean, they think you're stupid. Now, we all know about Budweiser, Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, Tranheuser-Busch, Transheiser-Busch. That makes me laugh still, right? And InBev Corporation, they've lost their ass. They've absolutely lost their ass over the fruitcake on a can, right? Putting that trans Dylan Mulvaney. And we have successfully boycotted them. and Kohl's and Target and Adidas and Nike. Don't buy any of their shit ever again. Well, it kind of came out that Youngling, the beer company, they tried stepping in and saying, yeah, we're a patriotic beer, right? And they started honoring, I think, veterans, the military. Well, it turns out, folks, it turns out that Younglik beer is woke. And it has supported in years past the LGBTQ pride bullshit. Well, last week, Youngling was part of they're part of a partnership with an entertainment organizer, and they say, hey, we're doing this in industrialized communities. We're sponsoring industrialized communities and their crap. Well, yeah, so drag is part of that. So this drag show organizer, right, released a statement. Youngling took their name off the sign, right? But then they put out a bullshit apology that, well, we're helping people. Really, you're helping people by exposing children to these fruitcakes. Well, now they've decided it's not family friendly. Now you have to be 18 years or older to go to this thing. Okay, so now it is a pure adult show with drag queens and Youngling beer. That's how this is working. Folks, give them the Bud Light treatment. We're not stupid. They need to come out and, one, apologize for thinking we're stupid. Two, they need to apologize for supporting this perverted shit that is now involved in grooming children and encouraging children to self-castrate, to destroy their lives. And Youngling wants to be a part of that. I won't ever drink another one of their beers. I've only had one. I think it was 2 years ago I tried it. I'm like, yeah, it tastes like Budweiser. Anyways, yeah, I'm done with them. That's all it takes. From now on, that's all it takes. Is you want to be woke? Fuck you. Same with Chick-fil-A, which apparently was anti-gay. But hey, guess what? When they said I need to shine black people's shoes during the BLM riots years ago, I was like, that's it. You're boycotted. I've been boycotting them since then. Fuck them all, folks, because they're trying to fuck us over. And ultimately, once we get through with all this fruitcake stuff, we're going to end up with a Muslim-style system of justice in this country for me and you. If they keep getting their way and we keep being stupid about it, thinking we can vote these people out, it's going to take a whole hell of a lot more than just a few votes. So you better get ready. Ooh, man, who do we have next? We got Carlos Granados, my friend from down under, my brother from another mother down in Mexico. He has a 191.10 Mexican dollars. I think that's like 10 million pesos. Thank you so much, Carlos. It's great hearing from you, man. He says, happy Father's Day, Big John. I don't see building back better from the south of the border. I see soy foundations next year. Either the president of the United States is in absentia or in dementia or someone with his head right. Yeah, I tell you, man. Folks, it's been a while since I've seen Carlos. But he is here, and he is south of the border. And this is what's great about the Prepared Mind Network. We are international. We've got people down under in Australia. We've got them down under in Mexico. Oh, that's funny. Well, John, you're a right-wing racist. Oh, bullshit, you know. Not a fucking racist. You can say Mexican. Mexican isn't a race, by the way. It's a country. It's a nationality. It is an ethnicity. But, you know, got to have a sense of humor. And, folks, I work with Mexicans, Guatemalans, Hondurans, San Salvadorians, Nicaraguans, Panamanians, all of them. Cubans, Dominicans, all of them, as well as Americans and Canucks, Australians. This weekend, folks, I met another South African. Anyways, love it. I love the fact that this show is international. In fact, now we got people over there in Ireland, right? We've got Vincent Boyle from Belfast. We've got I got Stephen. With Stefan. Holy cow, man! I've had a lot to drink. Stefan Conlon. There we go. From jolly old England, right? We got people. We got Renee over in the Netherlands that likes to come in and give us stuff. So yeah, very international. I want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods around the world as shit gets nasty. But Carlos, have you seen any Chinese military or Russian military down in Mexico? Have you heard any reports? Over the weekend, folks, I got reports that we had U.S. tanks on U.S. civilian streets and that U.S. military Ospreys were landing in U.S. civilian neighborhoods. What's going on? Had a lot of people concerned. Have you heard? Did you see for yourself? Or could it be something else? Anyways, let's do this. Let's continue. I've also seen film footage, folks, of Star Destroyers and TIE fighters landing at airports and AT-AT walkers that are all photoshopped as well. Who knows what's real anymore? Let us move on if we shall, though. Oh, man. Where are we going next, dude? We've got Nurseman 55G with a $49.99 super chat donation, which means I get another shot of the Glenlivet single malt right here. And boy, am I going to be hurting tomorrow. Anyways, Nurseman, thank you so much, dude. Here it is to you. All of us, Americans, patriots, veterans, active duty, hunters, farmers, blue-collar workers around the world. And here's to the intelligent out there that know how to manage it properly and get the job done. Mother's milk right there. So smooth. So Nurseman says it's a fight overall for a pro-human or anti-human future at every level. The natural, good, true, beautiful, free human future, or an inverted, artificial, do as thou wilt, transhuman, hypermaterial, Borg future where you must assimilate. Those are the choices we have. There is not going to be a hybrid system where intelligence can live on its own, live free. There's going to be two worlds out there, folks. What world is it that we are going to inherit? What world is it that we're going to allow to be created? Or are we going to do this? Let me get more comfortable here. Or are we going to step up and assert our right as free people and insist with all manner provided to us? Are we going to insist that the government respect its obligation, live up to its oath, or be dissolved by we the people? It can happen, folks. It may have to happen. It's coming. Now, internationally, there's a lot of countries that are going to leave the United States. The vision other countries have, folks, of the United States as the beacon of liberty, the symbol of freedom, right? Where individuals can get ahead, where they can become successful. That vision's gone. The United States is now a terrifying example of government abuse and, shall we say, just perversion on every level. Not just sexual perversion, but the corruption of the human spirit that is powerful and what that is doing. Part of this country could break away. The southern states could break away and form their own country, which is natural and good, beautiful. And just over the border, we could have an inverted, transhuman, materialistic shithole. Question is, where would you choose to live? And do you see that coming? Is that possible? Folks, we have Canada to the north, and we've had Mexico to the south, which to those of us in America, we always look over at Mexico, or we used to, and go, it's just not quite there. It's just not civilized enough, right? The police are just a little too corrupt. Those who are rich just don't give a shit because they played the system. I think that Mexico probably is a better, more moral, decent place to be. than here in the United States of America. In fact, I have a great example of that, if you would care to listen. Right? Just last week, it was reported that at the soccer tournament, football, down in Mexico, right, the fans, the Mexican people were taunting the American goalkeeper, who, folks, is a butt pirate. And he got so upset that they had to stop the game. Well, folks, that culture is largely Catholic, and they don't care for fruitcakes the same way American Catholics do not care for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who actually honor this twisted, perverted, sick tranny group that dresses like satanic nuns to announce to the world and show them that, yeah, they are the most sexually depraved and also spiritually, shall we say, vagrant people in all of the world, who want to show everyone publicly that that's exactly who they are. And the Dodgers let them out on the field and honored them. Well, folks, Catholics everywhere, Christians everywhere, it's time to stand up for what is right and stop pretending that, well, evil is okay as long as, you get yours. I don't know what the hell these people are getting out of, siding with this evil, but it's evil, folks. Thank you, Nurse Man, very much for your great support, your super chat donation, and another shot of scotch. I'm down to my last one. I'll have to go get another bottle, I guess. Anyways, thank you so much. Folks, I've been talking about Russia, saying basically it's at war. Thank you, Uman. Basically, it's at war with us. Get your super chat donation in if you've got a question or a comment with respect to any of the topics we put up here. And by the way, people are still getting sick. Their immune systems are still destroyed. People are still going and getting more sick, even though they've been Jim Jones juicinated, everything. Don't want you to forget about that, folks, right? Take a wild guess what I'm talking about. Now, I talked about Russia. Well, who was dealing with China last week and the week before? That would be Lloyd, the loser, Austin, Secretary of Defense. Well, America, folks, now is going to have Blinken, who I think is Secretary of State, is going to visit China. Blinken. That is not a very good name. Anyways, China, folks, is going to have Blinken go over there. And, folks, guess what China's going to do? They're going to humiliate him. The same way Joe Biden himself went over to Saudi Arabia to meet with Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who disrespected him, who didn't greet him as the head of state of the most powerful nation on earth, but rather treated him like a third world shithole leader. Well, that's how he acts. Anyways, now we've got Blinken. He's going to China. China, just as I said at the last meeting, right, completely treated Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin like a loser he is. And now you think they're going to treat Blinken any better? If the rest of the world doesn't treat Biden with any respect, what makes Blinken think? He is primed. He is set up for humiliation, to be disrespected, probably threatened. We're going to find out. It is coming. It is coming. It is coming. Holy cow. Look at this right here. Right? Just so you know, I just found out that I had someone go, "Hey man, didn't get a notice that you're doing the show." Wow. That's why I say you need to be subscribed. You need to hit the notification bell, wherever the hell it's at these days. But yeah, we are live. And they're going to do everything they can to silence you, silence me, and keep us ignorant. Okay, Mr. Uman. We've got Bioxo77. How about that? He's back in the house. Bioxo with a $4.99 super chat donation. he says, just wanted to say happy Father's Day. Stay safe, stay aware, and be prepared. Always great advice. Thank you, Biaxo. I hope all is well. And folks, you guys have been just fabulous, outstanding, the best at waking people up and getting new people in the show. We're sitting at what, 360 live people? So folks, that address, it's right up there. The address is up there. Share that with others. Email it, text it, whatever it takes. Get people to wake up. Get people to come and learn. And it's not for you. It's not for me. It's for them. For their own good, for the love of God, right? Take control of your own lives. Take responsibility for your own lives. I mean, if I ever meet a Democrat, and every time I do, you always hear the same things. Engage in conversation with another human being, and you'll know if they're a Democrat. Because for some reason, you'll hear it, folks. You'll hear it. You'll hear them say things like the government needs to help us do this, do that. In my opinion, the government needs to get the fuck out of the way. The government needs to quit hurting America, right? But you'll hear something completely different from a Democrat. All right, thank you, Biaxo. Mr. Uman, let's shuffle on. And it's Cottage Farm. She's back. And she says, happy Father's Day. TPM guys, that's the Prepared Mind guys. Thank you, Cottage Farm. I hope you're very well. I know you're behind enemy lines on the West Coast. That's the coast I escaped from. Folks, there's so many good people trapped behind enemy lines. And that doesn't mean that they're going to lose that territory. I think if it comes down to it, folks, the fruitcakes, they're going to retreat into their cities and they're going to meet their demise. They head out into the suburbs. They head out into the farmland. They head out into the bayous. They head into the, well, those rolling hills. The hills have eyes. They leave their little, shall we say, safety havens, and they'll meet a very unhappy ending. And I want you and everyone out there, and in fact, if you are a prepper in the city, that doesn't mean you're done or cooked, right? It just means you're going to see what happens to these people firsthand. Right? A lot of people in the country, like Cottage Farm and like I used to be, they may not see much at all of anything, except the occasional straggler getting chased out of the town, right? When it comes down to it, folks, we're going to find out who is on whose side. And everybody who hates America, all these Democrats out there, they hate America. They're going to be held to account. Right? The invitation to leave is going to become, well, exile. And they'll be exiled from town to town to town until they end up in a big fat city where they meet their end. All right, let us move on if we shall. We have Serge with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Serge. He says, John, I've been eyeballing Century Arms AP5 in 9mm, the best clone of the HK MP5 9mm. Do you know anything about it? The answer, Serge, is no. I know about the MP5, which is a phenomenal weapon made by Heckler & Koch. Century Arms makes a clone, a replica, a very similar model. My best recommendation when you buy a self-defense weapon, folks, is read reviews. Now, if you buy a Heckler & Koch, or Koch, some people say, it's very expensive because they're German, they're machined with the finest materials. But other companies are making replicas, just like the ARs are replicated everywhere. People are milling them, creating them. They're marvelous, shall we say, modular weapon systems. And you can get one very inexpensively rather than trying to buy an Armalite or any of the other big name brands like Adams or Daniel's Defense. And they function the same or just as well, even though they may not be made from the highest grade materials. Look out, folks. Right, the early M16s that were used in Vietnam resulted, sadly, in a lot of malfunctioning weapons because it took a long time to perfect them. Today's weapons for civilians are superior to the weapons that were created for the military just 50 years ago, 55 years ago. Now back to these Century Arms. Read all the reviews you can. Find out their strong points, their weak points. If people are saying it's just as good, then you're good. I don't keep up with 9mm weaponry though, folks. I prefer even the 9mm as a cartridge is terrific. It is. It's so common. It's everywhere. Just like the 40. As you all know, I like my 1911s and 45 ACP, and I like my wheel gun, my 357. It's interesting, right? I like shotguns in 12 gauge, and I like the AR-15 platform. But 9mm is a great cartridge. Been around since the Nazis used it. The 9mm Parabellum. Look at it. If you can, Serge, rent one. You can, folks, go to a shooting range, and the larger ones will let you rent pistols to try them out, see how they shoot. Right? If they've got used pistols for sale, like people come in and they trade them in and buy different ones, right? They will rent them a lot of times. Tell them you're interested in a weapon, but not until you get to shoot it to see if it fits your hand, if the recoil is acceptable, right? If it works for you. I recommend it highly. I've done that myself many times over the decades. Thank you, Serge, very much. Okay. This is just something that's been on my mind. I saw the story over the weekend. 20 armed ATF and IRS agents, folks, raided a gun store in America. They raided it. And what did they do? They seized their records. They seized their records. I say don't allow yourself to be terrorized. But this is incredible, folks. Absolutely incredible. Great Falls, Montana. When you buy a gun, you fill out a form 4473, right? And that documents all your information. So Highwood Creek Outfitters has been raided. They've been under surveillance by state, federal agencies for over 2 years. And that was reported, folks, by KRTV, right? News station there. Well, they showed up and they took all his records. And here's what's interesting, right? If he's committed a crime, if they've been surveilling him for 2 years and say he was selling guns to criminals who are filing false records, right? The background checks would have got him, right? He said they've been, and it's been other, how do we say it? It's other bureaucracies have been harassing him. According to the owner, right? 2 years ago, other agencies like the FBI, OSHA, which is Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and the Department of Homeland Security have been going after him and coming after him. Are they going to start harassing everybody? Are they going to start harassing Americans? Well, this guy says he says, quote, I can only assume this harassment or this raid is because of the style of weapons that we have and the press that's so against them. He says the current administration, meaning the Biden administration, seems to be hell-bent on getting those guns out of the hands of average Americans. Well, I hate to say this to you, Joe Biden, but there are already tens of millions of AR-style weapons out there. He said, he lost money because they came in and interrupted his business. They screwed up his business. They'll do anything, folks, anything they can to get us to give up, to give in, right? Don't allow yourself to be terrorized, these people. Don't give up. All right, let's do this. Let's do some more super chat donations. Oh, man, where do we want to roll next, man? We've got Kilroy was here with 1999. Who's Kilroy, right? Kilroy is here. That's an old symbol. I appreciate very much, folks. I appreciate Kilroy A lot of history there. Look that up on the internet for full explanation so you don't get just my version of it. But a great super chat donation, $19.99. Boy, I wish I could go back to 1999 and party like it was. America, folks, was jacked up in 1999, but nothing like it is today. Nothing at all. All right, man, let's do another one. Oh, man, we got Johnny Coathanger back with a $10 super chat donation. He says, IRS raids firearm store and takes all the 4473s. It is illegal for the ATF to take these documents. That's true, but not the IRS. How many more thousands of these IRS agents are there going to be? I think the number, Johnny, was 77,000. No, 76,000 more. So I'll tell you what isn't legal, and that is one branch of the government using the authority of another branch of the government in its authorized capacity. The word authorized, folks, authority. Authorized authority. Is the ATF now going to use the IRS's authority to seize documents? Now, is it legal for the IRS to take these documents? Well, the document, does it have anything to do? Let's ask that. Anything to do with revenue? See, it's the Internal Revenue Service. So if they're taking documents, they have to be relevant. They have to be germane. They have to matter to the court case. I guess they can make the case. The IRS, they can get a search warrant. They can raid a business. They can steal the documents, or rather, confiscate the documents for the purposes of doing what? Well, the IRS doesn't need special permission to audit somebody. You see, that's just that they can audit this guy without doing a raid. So why did they need the 4473s? See what I'm saying? The IRS shouldn't need them to do an audit and find out if this guy, right, this gun store owner in Montana, right, has done something wrong. But they want to intimidate. They want to instill fear in people. They want people to be afraid of them. That's exactly who they are and what they do. Folks, I don't like government abuse. I don't like tax collectors. I think they're carpetbaggers and I think they're thieves. They steal from good people. They terrorize people. We pay our taxes, all of it. We work our ass off every single day. Right? Can't you just leave the American people alone and leave our laws? Nope. It's not that kind of world anymore, folks. It's not that kind of world anymore. Thank you, Johnny. Let's move on if we shall. Mr. Uman, who wants to step up next? Where are we going? And it's chin music. Oh, man, chin music says, John, we should raise money for the Prepared Mind Network with a fruit salad sale. That would be some funny shit right there. Back in the I think it was the 1990s, early 90s, Rush Limbaugh, some guy had a bake sale, Dan's Bake Sale. He had a bake sale to raise money for something. And it just kind of grew naturally. People started driving from the next city. People started driving from the next county. People were driving from other states and across the country to go to Dan's Bake Sale to help raise money for his cause. I tell you what, man, a fruit salad sale would be some funny shit, right? Selling fruit salad to raise money. I don't want to be the face of that. It's bad enough I call them the fruit salad eaters and fruit cakes. But it would be great. I would love a fruit salad sale and a fruitcake sale. That would be fabulous. That would be freaking funny as hell. And I think it would get the point across, right? No rainbows needed. No rainbows wanted. Just fruit salad, just fruit cakes. And if we did that, if we had a fruit salad and a fruit cake sale, any money collected from that made it back to me would get donated to charity. I couldn't accept money like that. I would have to put it into a charitable organization out there that is honorable and decent and doesn't allow children to be damaged, that doesn't promote perversion, right, and corruption and everything else. I wouldn't know, because I haven't thought about it, Chin Music, raising money to help children or to fight these fruitcakes. It is such an awkward battle to stand up against these people. It is. It's completely awkward. You know, go to a supermarket, go to your local Piggly Wiggly or Kroger or Winn-Dixie or Safeway. Go to your Albertsons, right? And put a table out front, create flyers and pamphlets, and tell people, protect children, protect parents' rights. Get these fruitcakes and fruit salad eaters out of our schools, whether they're drag queens or counselors or teachers or administrators or the school boards themselves. Get rid of all perverted left-wing freaks. Get them out of school. That's not what school is for. School is supposed to be about reading, writing, and arithmetic, and children learning about their country, their laws, our culture, our tradition, the good things that we have because of, well, the struggles we've all fought for. Not how to put your hand in someone's anus, or how to put a frickin' prophylactic on a banana, or how to paint your face like a frickin' circus freak clown, right? How to hate America. It's just, what are schools about? Anyways, Chin Music, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I mean, get this. Yeah, Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas. They're going to host this Pride Parade. And the parade route goes around base housing. Our enemies are laughing at the military now, folks. All they see on TV, in the media, is trannies and queens, not a rugged, masculine, ass-kicking military. Now, I know the media doesn't get to go on Marine Corps bases. They don't get to go and follow around Army infantry units unless they're showing them with a bunch of fruitcakes, right? That's the only thing that makes it to TV now, folks, is this perverted leftist crap. Really. And they look at the government and they see the biggest morons ever. Thank you for hitting that super chat button today. Thank you so much. We still got over 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left. Now, what do we got there? We got Chin Music on the screen still. Okay. You know, people look at the left and they see fruitcakes. They look, who's the leadership in America? Well, the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, right? The little idiot extraordinaire. Do you think the rest of the world respects the White House, Joe Biden? No, they don't. Do you think they respect her? She calls herself a, quote, historical figure. Did you know that? She's now referring to herself as a historical figure. Why is that? Because she's the first female black lesbian? Who gives a fuck? The rest of the world is laughing. The only thing historical about her is how hysterical it is that she is that ignorant. And she's a figure, a historical figure, like a figurehead. All she has done is show us how stupid people are that come at us with this left-wing idiocy. And what's terrible, folks, is whether it's just a spokesman or someone who's in charge of policy, whether it's at the federal level or the local, they're bringing this country down. They're bringing this country down. I tell you, I just freaking tell you. What's going to happen with Donald Trump? Anyone have a prediction out there? Is he going to be acquitted, or are they just going to ram through the trial? Is it going to be called a mistrial? Right? Is there going to be summary judgment, throw the fucking case out because it's a joke? The prosecutor, this complete asshole, he looks like a giant Democrat fool, right? He has violated so many ethics, so many rules. It's incredible. Is this going to complete the takeover of America? Is it? It could, folks. It could complete the takeover. You know, in fact, Obama is still around. Did you know that Obama came out? That's right, Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama. He came out and proposed, quote, digital fingerprints. Because they need to battle, folks. They need to combat online misinformation. Why is this asshole even around anymore? We all know that he's running the Democrat Party, that he's running Biden. We know that, but he himself is just a stooge. Why does anyone give a fuck? Well, I know I don't. But what he's proposing, folks, is a way to track us and continually track us and punish us. We need liberty, folks. We need liberty. And we also need to keep using humor. Greg Gutfield roasted Joe Biden in his monologue the other night. And he went after him. You know, the president with no brain thinks we're building an ocean train. Joe Biden is really that messed up. He's that much of a fool. Barack Obama, he really is that dangerous, folks. And we need to point out, you know, if you need to continue to make fun of Obama and Michelle, make fun of Joe, make fun of Karine Jean-Pierre, make fun of all of them. Humor, folks, works. And Greg Gutfield, right, being on Fox News, they're losing, folks. They're going down, just like the rest of media, because they're left. Now, Greg Gutfield, I know, tries. I know Maria Bartiromo tries. I know that more people are leaving Fox to go to work for, you guessed it, Tucker Carlson elsewhere. There's a war for this country, politically. There's a war socially. There's a war over territory, geography. There's a war over resources and commodities. It is a full-on 24/7 SHTF shit show. And I'm allowed to use humor, I guess, to talk about it. I hope you folks try and keep, you know, like laughter going, that you do all you can to see what the hell is going on and share with others. Right? It's just that important that we need to continue to share. I mean, in Massachusetts, there's a college that is which college does it matter? Does it matter which college anymore? Well, Springfield College, folks. We'll just name the name. Don't send your kids to Springfield. It has guidelines to tell students to avoid using gender-specific words, you know, like mother and father. Those are gender-specific. Well, isn't queen and king gender-specific? Why are they drag queens? Why the fuck are they drag queens? Because that's gender-specific. Never mind. Don't point out their stupidity, their ignorance, and their hypocrisy, John. Anyways, they're now telling students how to talk. That's the war we're in, folks, the war for the language. But, right, college used to be the highest form of education, where free speech, academic curiosity used to happen, where you could learn, right? Or, no, now they're just indoctrination hubs for the war. People that come out of college, they're now warriors for the left, folks. Unbelievable. Well, let's do this. I got Mr. Skylight checking in with a super chat donation, and there it is, $49.99. And he says, those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. This comes from former President John F. Kennedy. And he says, we're way past the point of voting our way out of this now. And I believe you are correct, Mr. Skylight. And I pray that whatever is done is brief and effective to get rid of those in charge. It's going to be a mess, folks. It's going to be bloody. I'm agreeing with you, Mr. Skylight, that voting our way out of this is not going to work. We've tried voting our way out of this. Now, do we need to vote? Yes. Do we need to hold elections? Yes. Why? To show the remainder of the American people who are not awake Show them that the system doesn't work. The world is rejecting this leftist crap in America, in Europe. People are rejecting it. Italy, France, Germany, Austria, England, they're rejecting it. Yet we're still being force-fed this socialist crap. So let me read this quote again. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. What is peaceful revolution? When you reject something, you revolt against it. So when you reject a government, whether it's a Congress or the chief executive, when you reject them, you are revolting against them, but you do it peacefully through the voting process. It's how you can make change without sending bullets down range. There's the John quote for you. Voting is how you make change without sending bullets down range. I kind of like that. Now, if the voting system has been corrupted, if it has been perverted, then guess what? That's right. You make peaceful revolution impossible. And the people will be left with nothing but violence. And it will be inevitable. It is now inevitable. It's just how bad, how long. You, my American brothers and sisters, guess what? You have the ability to protect yourself, right? Your family, your community, and your country. I think you will be called upon here and there, many people, to step up and fight for freedom. Will it be fast? I pray it is. Could it take years? It just might. Are we going to settle for a Hunger Games nation and world where the super elite crap all over their people and keep them in destitution and suffering under strict local totalitarian regimes, and to pay tribute to the top, the uber wealthy? Is that what we have in mind? It's possible, folks. It's possible. Or can we win and defeat these people? Literally take back the government. I think it's possible. And I sure hope that the way we take things back is peaceful. The government, folks, doesn't have a right to exist. We, the people, have a right to exist. Government is merely authorized. It is merely authorized by us, the people. It doesn't have a right to put us down. It doesn't have a right to control us. It doesn't have a right to tell us what to do. No, it doesn't. All the government has a right to do is obey us. It's not a right. It is a charge. They are charged with obedience. And they swear an oath to obey the Constitution and even defend it and protect it. What do we keep hearing from the government? That they don't like the Constitution, that they want to get around it, that they want to eliminate it. They want to pass laws that give them more authority and take away, well, our rights and our protections. Thank you, Mr. Skylight, very much for that great quote from John F. Kennedy. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. Look out. Great, great, great quote and great super chat donation. Let us continue if we shall. I tell you, I want to thank John. He sent me an email back. He says, it was nice to see that you have time and the desire to read emails these days. Well, I have the time to do so. But time is something, folks, that we all have just a finite amount of. As individuals, we have so much time. And this is kind of a philosophical thought. And thank you for the spy versus spy image. I'll answer your email later, John. Time, folks. We don't have an unlimited amount of time personally in our lives. Eventually, the time runs out. I thought I would live forever in my 20s and 30s, and now I see that in my early 50s, right? Time will run out for all of us. And time is going to run out for us with regard to this nation. right? Time for America is also short at this point. We need to be awake. We need to be aware. We need to be prepared. We need to wake up others. There won't be time once the shit really gets nasty. It'll be too late. Are you fully prepared? Are you training? Right. Do you have first aid equipment? Do you have first aid skills? Do you have books, pamphlets, manuals on how to deal with, well, wounds? How about water? How about how to organize yourself in your group? Are you prepared? I think it's really important to have that in mind. Are you prepared? It's really critical, folks. Right. Now, we've been really fighting in our country for the heart and soul, right, of America. Are we going to let the fruitcakes take over and ruin this country's morals before they turn a bunch of other people loose on us to bring us their version of righteousness? We talked about that earlier in the show. We need to fight these people, the woke folks. But one example is in Kansas. Elected officials, representatives of the people, have the majority, and they voted to get rid of a lot of this trans crap to protect children. And now 50 letters, folks, over 50 letters had suspicious white powder in them. And that's been sent to politicians. Now, whether it was powdered sugar, flour, or ricin, it doesn't matter. Ricin is a toxic substance, folks. It's a poison. It's toxic. It's used by terrorists, right? If someone were to explode a shell or somehow distribute ricin powder into the air, it makes people sick. It kills them. Right? It can just get on your skin and really make you sick or kill you. In other words, sending white powder to people is terrorism. And that's what people are getting now in government all over the country, from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the South up to the northern border. Terrorism. The freaks, the fruit salad, fruit cakes, right? They want transition kids. They want to groom kids. They want kids hurting themselves, destroying their reproductive capacity. They want weak-minded kids to give in to them. And they're threatening us, you and I. They're threatening the government, the good government out there that are resisting them and fighting for freedom, right? It's up to us, right? Are you prepared, and are you ready to fight against these people? Because it's going to come to it. I'm not telling anyone to commit any violent or dangerous acts. I'm asking, do you see what's coming for us? Do you? I see what's coming for us, folks. I've been watching my whole life. I've been paying attention my whole life. We got just one left here. And I don't think I can end the show without finishing it off. We may as well. So if you've got a drink handy, if you need to pour one real quick, another one bites the dust. I'd like to raise a glass and toast to you. Thank you for being good Americans, strong Americans, informed Americans, prepared Americans, and patriotic Americans. And if you're not American and you are all those things, then we welcome you as well. Semper Fi means always faithful. Do what's right even when no one is looking. Do what's right because you know the difference between right and wrong. Semper Fi, God bless. It's like mother's milk. I'll see you guys starting tomorrow, 0 dark 30. I want to thank you for sharing Share that internet address up there. Send it to people. They can start at the beginning of the video and they just might fucking learn something, right? All right. And again, thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure it's clicked. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you're subscribed. We got a lot of shit coming at us, folks. I really hope you are prepared. Godspeed, Semper Fi.